The thing that gets me about this election is how much Donald Trump voters of all races and colors are now regretting the fact that they voted for Trump. But what really gets me is that why did you do it in the first place, even knowing what he has said and what he plans to do, especially when it comes to immigration. The number one bugaboo that he has campaigned about for years, ever since he walked down that escalator in 2016. But now that he's been elected, and he's elected a border czar that wants to deport American citizens who have children who are maybe from foreign countries or vice versa, now they're acting as if all hell is about to break loose. Matter of fact, I'd like to read you several excerpts from this New York Times article. The alienation of Jaime Chuela. I'm sorry if I screw up this name. His friends and family members in Rome, Georgia, voted to support mass deportation, and now he's scrambling to stay in the country. Now, this article was written by Eli Sheldon and photographs by Eric Schaff. Now, this actually is a conversation between Jaime and another person in his family. Now, just bear with me on this. His wife was spiraling with insomnia, and his children were afraid to go to school. So Jaime Chuela sought out the person he trusted most in the crisis. He sat at his kitchen table in rural Georgia across from his father-in-law, Sky Atkins, the family patriarch. Jaime, 33, hasn't seen his own father since he was 10 months old when he left Mexico in a car seat bound for the United States. It was Sky, 45, who had stood by Jaime at his wedding, helped him move into his first house, and stayed at the hospital overnight when one of his children was sick with pneumonia. "We have to prepare for the worst case scenario," Jaime told him. "There is a chance that we could lose everything." "Isn't that a bit dramatic?" Sky asked. "How? Help me understand." I want you all to listen very closely to what I'm about to read. Jaime muted the football game on TV and began to explain his new reality as an undocumented immigrant after the election of Donald Trump, who won the presidency in part by promising to deport more than 11 million people living in the country illegally. Trump's aides were discussing plans to build detention camps and enlist the military to carry out mass deportations beginning on day one. Their local congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was saying that she couldn't wait to see it happen, quoting her. Jaime's best chance to become a legal U.S. resident was with a new program for immigrants like himself, people who were married to U.S. citizens and had lived in the country for at least 10 years without committing any crimes. But just a few days earlier, that program had been struck down by a Trump-appointed federal judge. So, this man is about to be deported. His children are no doubt going to be deported. "There's nothing to stop them from running me up once they take office," Jaime said. Sky spent most of his adulthood preparing. Now, I want you all to listen to this too very carefully, because this is the mindset of a lot of the right wing. Sky had prepared much of his adulthood preparing to protect his family in a crisis. He learned survival tactics in the Army and had been trained in hand-to-hand combat as a corrections officer in Georgia. In the last few years, he has sensed that the country has become more polarized and volatile. He built up a small collection of firearms and a cache of emergency supplies. He has been anticipating the moment when the government might rise up against his family, but in this particular crisis was one he helped to create. Sky actually voted for Donald Trump. Even after everything that Donald Trump has said and done during the campaign, threatening to deport illegal aliens and even American citizens, he still voted for Trump. And he admits it here, quoting the article. "I'm going to be straight with you," he told Jaime. "I voted for Trump. I believe in a lot of what he says." "I figured as much," said Jaime. You and just about everyone else here." "It's about protecting our rights as a sovereign country," Sky replied. "We need to shut down the infiltration on the border. It's not about you." Jaime replied, "It's all about me. That's the thing I don't understand." Let me repeat that real quick. "It's about protecting our rights as a sovereign country," Sky said. "We need to shut down the infiltration on the border. It's not about you." Then who exactly is it about, Sky? Who exactly is it about? Now, Jaime replied to that, "I've never felt like a foreigner until now. I'm not gonna let anything happen that puts your family at risk," Sky said. And Jaime replied, "It already did. All those criminals that Trump has been talking about, the rapists, the gang members, that's not you," Sky replied. He had heard Trump said that he would deport the bad guys, quoting him, "the bad guys, first, and possibly show leniency to immigrants who have been brought to the country as children." "You deserve to be here," Sky said. "To me, you're basically an American." "But I'm not," said Jaime. This is something I don't get about the right wing. You really believe that because he's one of the quote-unquote good ones, because he's a good man, he's one of the good Mexicans, that Donald Trump isn't going to come after him either? How stupid are you? Jaime has every right to be afraid for himself and his family, because Donald Trump for the last 8 years has been screaming about some an invasion at the southern border by the evil Mexican horde, the evil rapists, the evil drug dealers, the evil murderers, when the real people that are a threat to this country are homegrown Americans that believe and have voted for one person, Donald Trump. People like this Sky here in this article who actually thinks that actually repeated exactly what Donald Trump said as to why he voted for him, because of the infiltration of the southern border. Exactly what do you think was going to happen, Sky? You thought they were going to make an exception for Jaime and his family? Donald Trump and his border czar, Tom Holland, have already said that if you don't want to be split apart, you can go with them. How stupid are you to think that this guy that your son-in-law, your daughter, and your grandchildren weren't going to be involved in this? That's what really bothers me about the Trumpers, about the MAGA. You voted for Donald Trump thinking that it wasn't going to affect people that in your lives, whether indirectly or directly into your lives. That's how stupid you are, and the pain is going to get even 10 times worse because you decided to follow a man who instilled hatred in you, who instilled fear in you for no reason other than racism, other than stupidity. I feel sorry for victims like Jaime, who are going to be ripped out of this country because he may have lived here illegally, hasn't been done a crime of murder or rape or drugs like Donald Trump has labeled every Mexican immigrant, whether they're illegal or legal as. My sympathy is with them. People like this guy, I don't even know what same parent would call their boy, their son, Sky, whatever. You get no sympathy from me. You get none from me. We warned you for 8 years about this guy. We warned you about Trump for 8 straight years, and you still voted for him. Why? Because you're stupid. Why? Because you're racist. Why? Because you're low information. Why? Because you are hateful. You have no idea what kind of pain you're going to cause, but unfortunately you will. And that's for you, Donald Trump, and you, Tom Holland. You better pray that not a single American citizen or illegal immigrant gets hurt because of this. Because if it does happen, and unfortunately because of you trigger-happy yahoos out there, it will, I promise, see that you end up in a prison cell for the rest of your natural lives. And if that sounds like a threat, it is. The game is over. You idiots are going to get someone killed. You better pray it doesn't happen. Or it's the jail cell for you. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.